What's going on YouTube? Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And please hit that notification bell at the bottom so you can stay up to date on our latest content. This is Jonathan with Black Label Elite, and let's go ahead and get into it. So today we're going to be talking about best home defense gun. Not really sure where I want to start today. Let's go ahead and start with the shotgun, all right? And of course, before we get into anything, I definitely always like to do a safety check. All right, so hopefully you all can see that chamber is empty. And also you see the red marker for an empty chamber, for an empty tube, anyway, for the shotgun. Now, the shotgun is definitely a good contender as far as, best home defense gun, or, I think there are caveats though, right? So if you live in an apartment complex and you have a shotgun for your home defense gun, you may want to look into something different. And the only reason I say that is because if you have a shotgun with, slugs, right? So 12 gauge slugs in it, that will go through quite a few walls. So you won't just go, hit the bad guy, right? It could potentially hit the bad guy and go through several walls and, potentially hit someone that you don't want to hit, right? If anything like that were to happen. But if you live out on a ranch, or, if you live in a house, a brick house or something like that, and I would probably say, as far as, and these are just my opinions, right? These are just my opinions. You can definitely let me know in the comments what you think about it, I think we'll definitely have a good debate on that. So, if you live in a home, single family home or something of that sort, or you live out on a ranch or something, I think a shotgun is definitely a really great tool to have. It could be, definitely great in a home defense type scenario. Now, the caveats to that is, if you have children, or if you have other people that live in that home with you, I still would not necessarily use a shotgun, because, you can either have, the slugs, which, most of the time have, that main one, that large lead slug, and then it'll have, sometimes 3 big marbles in it, right? So you have a slug and you have 3 other projectiles in that particular shell, or it could just be, could just be a slug, right? Or it could be buckshot. Either way, the spread, you really have to think about the spread when you're talking about shooting a shotgun, right? So just kind of depending on the distance, you're going to get a spread right around, maybe this distance at about 10 yards. Just kind of depending on what ammunition you're using, right? So if you have a long hallway in your home, and you have small children, or you have other people that live in that home with you, and they could potentially be home, of course, if they live with you, and there was your loved one and a bad guy in the hallway per se, and you took a shot with a shotgun, you're probably going to hit both of them, right? Because of the spread, right? And that's kind of one of the big considerations to think about with a shotgun. But like I say, if you live alone, and you don't have those types of concerns, a shotgun is definitely something that I think you should potentially look at. One thing about this though, I'm pointing in a safe direction now. You go ahead and pull that trigger. You have to recock this gun every time you shoot, right? So you shoot, you cock, right? So that is something additional that you do have to do in order to operate this particular tool. The others that are here, right? So and let me just say this really quickly. So this particular shotgun does have a rail for for some type of mount. If I was actually using this for home defense, I would have a light mounted on it, because you always want to be able to identify what you're actually what you could be potentially shooting at, right? Just a side note there. Let's go to the pistol next, and we'll of course do a safety check as always. As you can see, that magazine is empty, and that chamber is clear and that mag well is clear. Also rack this a few times, all right? And this is the 17 round magazine with the Taran Tactical extension on it. This is also the TLR 7 light on here, 500 lumen light. This is definitely my favorite gun at this particular moment. But let's go ahead and get into what we're talking about here, which is best home defense guns, right? Now, a pistol, you know, is definitely a great home defense gun, and the reason I say that is because the accuracy that you have, right? So the example that I just gave a moment ago when shooting a shotgun in the hallway, if your loved one and a bad guy's in the hallway, right? You don't really have that precision that you would have with either a pistol or an AR type rifle, right? So with that being said, you do have that accuracy, or can have that accuracy with a pistol, depending on the level of training that you have, you know, and how often you actually go and shoot. You know, we kind of course, build up the confidence that you had using a pistol in that scenario. But of course, you know, you pulled the trigger, you cocked the gun once, you pull the trigger, and you know, of course, it continues to load rounds into the chamber until the magazine is empty and the chamber has expended all of the rounds, right? So at that point, the slide locks back unless you are riding the slide lock. But you don't have to reload, or you don't have to recock in between each shot as you do with the shotgun, right? So that's another consideration. And as I said, so on any you know, any tool that you choose, any gun that you choose in this type of you know, in this type of situation, right? You want to have a light, and like I say, you want to either have you know, a handheld light that you can use in conjunction with your tool, or you want to have a light mounted on that particular tool so that you can identify what you're, you know, what you're actually engaging with, right? If you're down a dark hallway and someone else lives with you, you have no idea what you're shooting at or what you're about to engage if you don't have a light attached, right? So a light is a very, very important piece of the puzzle. I would definitely, you know, encourage you all to add lights to your, you know, whichever one of these tools that you, you know, that you choose to implement in your particular situation, right? So, now let's talk about this. So I did talk about this in relationship to, well, hey, if you live in an apartment complex, or hey, if you live in a home, or hey, if you live, you know, out in the country or something like that. So a pistol, I think, is good in a lot of those scenarios as long as you're using, and of course, just as I stated on the shotgun, it definitely depends on the ammo that you're using, right? So I would definitely always use hollow points. I would not use the ball ammo that you use in gun ranges and things of that sort, because if you shoot ball ammo will continue to go through many more layers of sheetrock as opposed to hollow point rounds. You know, just as a general rule, right? Hollow points are, of course, made to, you know, once they enter something, they kind of work to stay there, right? And cause you know, you know, a particular level of damage in those types of situations. But like I say, this particular gun, the shotgun, you do need to cock it after each shot. Of course, the pistol, you do not need to do that. You cock it one time and you're ready to go throughout the remainder of the rounds left in the magazine and or chamber. And now let's go ahead and get to the AR type rifle. So most of you all are used to seeing this type of AR rifle, and I don't have anything except the manual, you know, manual sights on this particular rifle because I haven't used this one in a while. But that being said, if I was using this for home defense, I would have, you know, a light mounted on the rail, you know, just as I explained, you know, about these other particular guns, right? So, irregardless of your particular choice, I would definitely have a light, as I had stated before, but let me go ahead and give you the pros and cons of an AR type rifle, right? So the pros and cons as far as this goes, These are really accurate as well, and I believe they are even more accurate quickly for a new shooter than even a pistol, right? So of course you have to go to the range and train with any of these particular options, but I believe you can more quickly acquire a target and be on target with an AR type rifle, right? So before I touch the trigger or anything of that sort, we'll go ahead and do a safety check on this particular gun as well, and hopefully you can see in that chamber there that is clear, and I will check that as well. So this type of rifle, you can quickly acquire a target, and of course if you have a light mounted, which you definitely should have a light mounted, I'm going to say that if you don't have a light, I'm going to add these particular lights in the description of this video. I would have an aluminum housed light. I know that those Enforce lights are really popular at this particular time. I've seen a few of them fall apart at the gun range, so I don't really advocate those particular lights. Of course, you know, they may have made improvements since the version that I saw. I'm not necessarily sure which version I saw, but hopefully they'll continue to make improvements, you know, on those polymer frame lights. Of course, they may be, you know, just a little bit lighter, but I would rather have, you know, the reliability of aluminum, right? So if I drop this, you know, if I end up dropping my my gun, I don't want you know, my light to fall apart, right? I don't want it to crack, or you know, whatever the case may be. So these aluminum housed lights are really durable, and you know, they just keep going, right? So that's why I chose an aluminum housed light, and you know, same thing for the pistol. Same reason. You know, same reason I chose an aluminum housed light on this as well. But anyway, you can really, you know, be confident in your shooting with minimal training on an AR type platform, due to the fact that, you know, just kind of depending on what type of sight, you know, what kind of sight you're using, whether it be, you know, an optical sight or iron sights or something of that sort. Just as long as you know, practice and you have the basic concept of it down, and actually know how your particular gun works, they will be really effective in those types of scenarios, right? So someone breaks into your home or something of that sort, or you need to defend your home from you know, whatever type of threat you may be facing at that particular time. It is really easy to acquire a target, even if they're, you know, located by someone that you love or you care about at that particular time, with either a pistol or an AR type platform. So as far as what I think is the best, I would definitely probably go with an AR type rifle, and I would say just behind that, I would definitely go with a pistol. There are quite a few different, you know, avenues that you could go with a shotgun. As I said, there are, you know, several different types of ammunition that you could use in a shotgun, and you know, and as well in the AR type platform and in a pistol. But the only, you know, I don't really advocate shotguns, just because you have so much to do, right, after each shot, right? So, you know, some people may like shotguns, and if shotguns are your thing, you know, more power to you. But you're going to have, you know, you're going to have more firepower with, you know, with a pistol and or an AR type platform. And the reason I say that is because of the amount of ammo that you can actually hold, right? So let me know what you guys think. As always, hopefully you love the content. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell. Be safe.